Okay. Did you hear that? Okay, go ahead
Yeah.
with your question.
Okay. Actually, I'm confused with the labs that are like observation lab and the one is some movie lab like
Oh, the
planetary
aside.
lab.
Mm-hmm.
So
The
I went to planetarism and saw the stars and all. And do I have to just write an essay about it, like how the planetarism was, like one summary and 2 pages, the only essay you're asking for, or you're even asking for observation sessions
uh,
to be given?
well, the observation is a separate lab. So if you go to a planetarium, then you would just write the planetarium report. So like a summary of the show,
Mm-hmm.
what constellations they showed you in the demonstration, and maybe what, um, other things they talked about. That can be one page, and then another page, the history of planetariums and the technology of planetariums. So if you do the planetarium report, you don't really have to make any observations on your own. So that wouldn't involve a telescope or anything.
Correct.
And when you, yeah, um, so the observing session is actually another lab,
Mhm.
and sometimes when you go to a planetarium show at Fernbank Science Center,
Mhm.
on the weekends and when the weather is nice in the evening, they also have an observing session. So, but that takes place up on the roof where they have telescopes, and then you would fill in some pages from the lab manual that are labeled observing session. So I don't know if you got to do that.
Because I was confused because on that it is written like Fenbank's Science Center. If you go, you just take your observation papers with you to fill it up,
Mm-hmm.
and I was confused what to fill it up. So
Oh,
let me ask you. Because that planetarism has nothing to do with the observation sheet.
yeah, they're two separate things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
What
the
is the
planetarium.
actual? Why are they telling over on the notes? So I was just wondering to ask you that.
Oh, okay.
But okay, so you just need a summary and 2 pages of what was it, the constellation, and related to what it is and our course,
Um,
what exactly
yeah,
it is.
yeah.
Okay.
For example, the show that I actually went and saw a show recently with the Cub Scouts, and it was called Nightlights. Yeah, and they talked about the constellations in the moon phase, what you would see here from Atlanta, and then also, they switched everything around to show what it would look like from South Africa. How everything changed. That was sort of, yeah, you can summarize that in maybe one page or so, and then yeah, you don't have to be going into great detail on that because I know it's dark. I don't know how well people can take notes. Um,
Yeah.
and then yeah, the second page,
That.
yeah, you just put down some information on you can search on the internet for the history of planetariums. Like when were the first ones built and what did they look like, and where were they built, and then sort of how did they develop, and then the technology. What are we using today? There's like the star projector that they also use at Fernbank, but then the very new ones have digital projectors. So just like a paragraph on that.
Okay. All right. Well, so one page on the technology that they're using and how it developed and how it is, and one page on what we saw in that planetarism, and one page on summary.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, something like that. Yeah, yeah. Um,
Okay.
sure. Yeah, yeah. Like 2 to 3 pages total. Because it's sort of different how people write. I mean, some people can write a lot with fewer words, and other people, need a lot of words to say
Right.
something. So, yeah, 2 to 3 pages total. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And the movie lab is simple, right? You want just the
Hmm.
issue for movie lab. That what is the issue behind the movie, like the astronomical issue, and is it
Yeah.
true or false? That's all you want in the essay, right?
Yeah, or how well it is represented. Yeah, for example, if you would do, yeah, just for example, a Star Trek movie or a Star Wars movie or something like that, they usually have space travel involved and, like faster than light travel. And at the moment, we don't have that capability. And in fact, so you would state that Einstein's theory of relativity puts, the speed of light as the fastest anything can travel. So, it wouldn't be possible for any spaceship to go faster than the speed of light. So, that would not be true. Or, for example, how they always have this artificial gravity on spaceships. People walk around like normal when in fact they should be floating around like the astronauts on the space shuttle. So, that's another thing you could mention as not realistic. Things like that.
Oh, okay.
So
Right.
yeah, and the same thing here. So you do like a plot summary on 1 page, and then a second or 2 more pages of discussion. What astronomical issues were presented, and were they realistic or unrealistic or total fiction.
Right.
That type of thing.
So on total, you want like 4 or 5 pages of essay, or
Um,
like how many
Again,
words? Or
yeah, it probably depends. I mean, 1 page for the plot summary, and then yeah, maybe 2 to 3 pages for the analysis of the different astronomical issues that you can find.
right. Okay. And one more question. The labs,
Sure.
you want the labs at the end of the semester, like, oh, it's okay if we give before the semester is over, or you want
Hmm.
them on due dates every Friday?
Yeah, just like before the lab midterm, the Friday due dates in the calendar are sort of supposed to keep you on track. So if you work on about 1 lab per week, then that's a comfortable pace. So yeah, but I know things happen. Things come up, and people take online classes because things do come up. Um, so it's okay with me if you know yeah, labs are turned in on the last day of classes. So
Okay.
if there's like an emergency or something, or you could turn in 2 labs in
Right.
2 weeks or 3 weeks, and then another 3 labs at the end of the semester. So between now and the last day of the semester, you can turn all of the remaining labs in. It's just that probably if you turn them in as we go along, then I'll be able to grade them and return them back to you. You can use them to study for the lab final. But if I get, all the submissions at the end of the last day of classes, then I'm totally swamped, and I won't be able to
No,
return
yeah,
graded labs for
yeah,
people to study from for the final.
yeah.
So that's sort of the only thing. But yeah,
Oh,
you can take until the last day of classes to turn it in the remaining labs.
right. And for the extra credits, do we have
Oops.
any program for 1020
I'm sorry. I'm
credits?
sorry. I had accident. Did you hear me speak?
Uh,
Hello?
yeah.
Yeah, I think I accidentally muted my. I must have pushed a button. Can you repeat your last
Question?
question?
Yeah, sure. The lab one. Can we do all the lab at the end of the semester, or we need to give it on time every week, like at
Oh,
the date
okay.
mentioned in the calendar?
Yeah. Did you hear my answer to that?
Yeah, I heard you.
Oh, okay. It's just I don't know. My display here on the computer showed, that all of a sudden it was muted, so I wasn't sure um,
No,
what
no,
happened.
I heard the whole
Okay,
answer of yours.
okay. I just wasn't sure if you had another question after that because I couldn't hear you.
Okay. The other question is for extra credit. Is there
Hmm.
any program for? I mean, is there anything we can do for 1020? Because I'm scoring low. So.
Oh, for the lecture?
Yeah, 1020 astronomy.
Yeah, for the lab, it's attending a popular STEM
Yeah,
talk,
lab.
and for the so that's for the 1020 lab, and
Mhm.
then for the astronomy lecture. Um,
Mhm.
do you remember if you took the SBCI pretest at the beginning of the semester?
I don't really know. I don't know if
Yeah, I
I did.
can.
I don't think so. I did.
Okay, well, I can quickly check.
Mhm.
So usually, people can get all of the extra credit in the class if they took the SPCI pretest at the beginning and then the SPCI post-test at the end of the semester.
So is this something I
But
can
since,
take right now?
well, I actually have a different option because it
Oh.
makes only sense, for people to take the post-test if they've taken the pre-test at the beginning of the semester. So if
Right.
you missed it for some reason, it was actually some on a website. It was available on a website, and I usually send people to that website, and it's administered by somebody else. So I can't really change the dates on that. But if you missed it, yes, then you can attend a second popular STEM talk um, for extra credit for the lecture. So you can do that instead.
Oh, okay. And that will be on iCollege?
Yes. So whenever the popular STEM talks, well, okay. The WIMBA classroom for the popular STEM talk to attend it live is not an iCollege, but I usually post a message with a link to it, and then anybody else in the college can also join. And once the archive is saved and recorded, then I'll post the link to the archive on iCollege. So
Oh,
you'll see that in an email and on the discussion board.
oh, okay. So for post post thing, you're gonna do it in future, right? Like before the end of the semester, you're gonna post it. I mean, you're gonna give us the email for the link.
Yes, yeah. I usually send out a link, when a talk is coming up. And actually, there's one coming up on Monday, the 19th. It actually relates to 1020 because it's about the search for black holes with a new um, gamma ray telescope or hard X-ray telescope that's going to be launched into space. So that would actually be a good one to attend. And I've posted the link in the calendar. If you go to the 19th and then you click on the date of the calendar of that particular day, then you'll get all the details on the entire write-up. And I've also sent out an email, I think, um, with
For
that.
the details of this, I'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
I'll check it out. Let me see if I have more. Well, that's about it then. Yep.
Okay.
Is there something I should know?
Oh, um, well, just whenever you're confused about anything, ask me, send me an email, post a question to the discussion board. Um,
I'm really scoring low in 1020
the,
lecture.
the,
Like always
hmm
in quiz, I'm bad because there's so many questions in it and 1 hour's time. And I mean, I'm not scoring. Is there some study guide or something I can go through, or it just comes out well? Because I don't know
it's,
really what to go through. Even if I read the chapters, it's so many things in there. So how really long.
Yeah. Well, actually, I'm looking at your scores. They're not too bad. They're if you're in the in the mid 30s. I mean, even though it looks like if you double it, like a little bit less than a 70. Um, but yeah, usually the quiz scores are lower. But then if you do all the homework assignments, if you answer all the discussion questions, and do the extra credit, that'll boost it up. So with scores in the mid 30s, mid to high 30s, you actually have a pretty good shot at a B even. But yeah, I mean, if you're concerned about the scores in general, yeah, B as in Bill.
Okay, I was thinking. I mean, I wanted to get an A, but I don't know, in this class maybe I'm getting B.
Well, what you could do, you have access to the learning modules, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and well, when you open them up, the thing that comes up first is actually a page, the course notes, or that they are sort of like a study guide, because they show what concepts. They're sort of like bulleted lists, abbreviated lists, and they show sort of what concepts to focus on. So when you do your reading, yeah, then maybe you can have the course notes open also, so that you only read the material that actually relates to the course notes. That might narrow it down just a little bit. And also, I've posted practice questions in each learning module.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not doing that one. See, that's the thing. I'll try doing it this time.
Yeah, try to work those out, because they already make you think about the concepts. Because if you just read the concepts, then it's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But then, if you're supposed to explain it to someone, or you have to think about it in terms of the question that's being asked, that's what the practice questions are for. So they make you think a little bit deeper about the concepts, how they're related, and things like that. And if you have any with the practice questions, you may also find that one or the other issue you thought you understood, you're still a little bit confused about, and then you can ask me questions about that.
Right.
Like, well, yeah. And I don't know if that's going to work out, but you're welcome to see if other students may want to, meet with you in a WIMBA room that I've set up for study groups. I mean, there's nothing formal, so it's just sort of like an open room, like a WIMBA room. Let's see, let me just check. Yeah, there it is. It's an icon on the course homepage, and it simply says that this is an online meeting place for study groups. All participants are able to use the presentation tools that allow them to, import images or use the whiteboard, write equations on the whiteboard, and things like that. So then all participants have the control of the tools in the WIMBA room.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, you could send out an email and ask, if anybody else is interested in forming a study group, and when would be the best times to meet in the the astronomy 1020 meeting room.
Labs are really difficult. I mean, sometimes it's not really difficult, but it seems to be difficult, and then you spend so much time after it, and then you get it. Okay, this is what they're asking for. Sometimes it's not enough time to just figuring out what is they asking.
I mean, just sometimes, when you talk with somebody about it, then things become, oh yeah, that's right, that's how it's supposed to go, or they have tried something that you haven't tried so far, and but I mean, if you have any questions about the labs right now, that'll be fine too.
Right. Well, right now I have nothing in my mind for lab questions, but one more question, Professor. It's this mastering astronomy is for extra credit, right?
No, that's actually the regular homework credit, the mastering astronomy.
That will be added because in syllabus it's never not mentioned about mastering astronomy points. So I don't know, or it is.
Oh, well, let me, I thought I mentioned it. Well, let me take a quick look in the syllabus. Um,
Homework, that is what it is? Homework points?
yeah, homework, yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, it says here, yeah, required text and required homework submission system.
right. Oh, okay.
Let's see. Oh, yeah, it does say here that you need access to mastering astronomy.
Okay, okay. All right.
Okay.
Thanks for your help.
All right.
I appreciate
Oh,
it. Really helpful.
okay, you're very welcome. And let me know if you have any other questions, either by email or post them to the discussion board.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Well, have a great evening.
You too. Bye.
Okay, thanks. Hey, Carol. It's just you and me now.
Oh, yeah, the other person left. I just had a couple questions for you.
Okay, sure.
On the Moon Lab, I wanted to know how strict we were going to be on our drawings.
Oh, don't worry about that. I'm not I'm a stick figure person. That's all I can handle. So yeah, you can just do the outlines. You don't have to do any shading or three-dimensional effects. So yeah, just the outlines of whatever you want to draw there. That's fine.
Okay, my other question was, I worked on this lab all day after. I'm trying to stay ahead. Question 14, on Copernicus, I'm not sure how to say it. It says the prominent large crater is blank, so we have to choose another crater besides Copernicus.
Yes.
And then it says, and you are looking from blank to blank. Are those directions or latitude, longitude degrees that you want?
No, you can just use the cardinal directions like, northwest to southeast or something like that. So you don't have to do the latitude and longitude. Just, if you were standing where the, picture was taken, facing towards Copernicus, which is at the far edge of the screen, then, in which direction would you be facing? Considering that you're looking at this big crater, that is very near Copernicus. So you're standing right there at that crater and you're looking towards Copernicus. So in which direction are you facing? And that would be the direction you're looking into. The other direction from which you're looking from would be, what your back is turned to. I don't know if that makes sense.
Oh, so if we're standing at the other crater, I would say from Copernicus. If I'm looking from the other crater to Copernicus, it would be southwest probably.
Yes, yeah. So you're looking from you're looking to the southwest. So yeah, the complete sentence would be you're looking from northeast to southwest because your back is facing northeast and your front is facing southwest.
Okay, and I might just need a little bit of explanation on the relative dating. I guess I read the paragraph, and that's kind of like my last question, but I'm not sure how to tell what's older. It kind of gets confusing.
Yeah. So well, it's basically if you have two features. If I'm trying to think of an example. Yeah. Well, let's say you have a mud puddle, and then somebody. Well, Yeah, somebody steps into it with a foot and leaves a footprint. And then maybe a little later, while the mud is still mushy and hasn't dried up yet, somebody's riding a bike through the mud puddle. And then, actually, I can probably illustrate that on the whiteboard. Let me just use that tool. So I'm loading that up right now. And just type out the title here, relative dating. And yeah, say you have a, oops, doesn't want to, mud puddle here. And then somebody steps into it with a footprint. Let's see. Okay, that's not a particularly good footprint. Okay, here we go. I'm going to try to make it look like a footprint.
Okay, so like on 27, when we have to choose between Copernicus and Mare, I'm not sure how to say it, Mare or Mare Ibrium. I would be thinking that the I don't know. I second guess myself. Like a crater would have to hit and explode first before volcanic activity would make the lava flow in that place in the Mare.
Yeah, the Mare. Well, well, the way Mare Imbrium works, it's actually that there are no volcanoes on the moon. But very early on, when the moon's surface was just solidifying, there were like some really big chunks of stuff floating around the solar system. So you have, crashes of large asteroids into, a very thin crust where there's still a lot of, liquid magma underneath. So sort of like crashing through or breaking the crust and causing, the cracks in the crust where liquid rock from underneath can seep in and fill in that giant impact basin. So you don't really have any volcanoes, but you do have the liquid rock that came up from underneath through the cracks, when the impacts occurred that formed the impact basin. Okay, let me go ahead.
I'm sorry. So we need to look at it in the perspective of the moon today, not what happened way back when we're doing relative dating. Is that correct?
Well, you sort of want to figure out just the order in which things had to occur first. Let's see. Let me just label this really quick. I should have done the footprint in green. No, wait a minute. Is it the one? Okay. Yeah, hang on just a second. There's an undo button. I think that's the undo button, yeah. Okay, so this is my footprint. Well, you want to look at in which order things occurred. So if you have a mud puddle, because I spelled puddle wrong. Let's see, here we have the So the black thing is the mud puddle. Actually, that. Sorry about that. I just want to erase this. This was supposed to be the bike track. So the blue thing is supposed to be the bike track. Let me just write that again. Okay. Okay, so the relative dating is about what is the order in which these events occurred. So, what is the order in which these events occurred? And how can you tell? So, what must have been there first?
Well, the mud puddle was there, but there had to be indentation first for the water to fill it up.
Yeah. The conditions would have to be right, for the puddle to form in the first place. Like, a little low-lying area and, loose sand or something like that. But, well, we're not going to worry so much about that because, the question you're wondering about, there were like specific features that I mentioned, and you just need to list the order in which those particular features occurred. So, if I have these three things listed here, then, in order for the other things to be able to appear, the mud puddle must have been there first. Why?
Okay.
Yeah, why would it not be possible for the footprint to be there first? Or, in other words, if there had been a footprint and then the mud puddle, would you still see the footprint?
No.
That's right, because, let's say someone has put, a footprint in this little low-lying area with the loose soil. Well, then it rains, buckets, and forms the mud puddle. Then the footprint is going to get all mixed up and washed away. So that's how you can tell that, okay, now the footprint has to come after the mud puddle, because if there was a footprint before the mud puddle formed, in the process of the mud puddle forming, that would have wiped out the footprint. So that's sort of the reasoning you want to apply there. So that means, the mud puddle was first among the three things that are listed. So the mud puddle must have, come first. Because it would have wiped out the other feature if it had come later. So something like that. Jade meant to change to a different color. Okay, so the mud puddle was first. Well, then we're looking at the bike track and the footprint. So if you have, two features, where one feature crosses the other, and I think there's an example like that in that image that you're looking at, because you have this oval indentation and then you have a rill. So that's sort of similar to the bike track footprint thing. And then you look at, okay, which feature has been disturbed, so that's not pristine anymore, and which feature is undisturbed, which feature looks pristine in its shape. So between the footprint and the bike track, if you look closely, which one looks disturbed and which one looks undisturbed?
Well, the mud puddle was undisturbed as the footprint, and the bike track was last.
Yeah. So the footprint, changed what the mud puddle looked like, and then since the way I drew it, the bike track, the blue line of the bike track is continuous. So that's undisturbed, which means there was no feature after that would have disturbed it. So nothing has disturbed it yet, but the bike track cuts across the footprint. So the footprint is not entirely complete anymore, and it's been disturbed by the bike track. So that means the footprint must be a little bit older than the bike track. If I can change my color now. Okay, so let me write this down. Okay, so the footprint let's see, must have formed before, if I could just spell correctly, the bike track, because the bike track is still, well, let's say pristine, meaning undisturbed, but the footprint has been changed or disturbed by the bike track. Okay, so that would be the reasoning. So if you were to list them from oldest to newest, let's see, let me write that up here. So oldest would be the mud puddle. Yeah, then we have the footprint, and we have the bike track, which would be the youngest. So from oldest to youngest, that would be the list. And this is sort of what relative dating is about. So the most pristine, still perfect looking feature would be the youngest, and then the one that it immediately disturbed would be older. And then you sometimes you can't tell. For example, if there are two different footprints, of a different shape and a different size, made by two different people that are not overlapping each other, then you wouldn't be able to tell which one was older, necessarily. So in that case, you would just write down, well, you can't tell, or they're the same age. Let's see.
Okay, I see the question. The last question is the one where you want a permanent order. I was looking at 27 too, where we had to choose between Copernicus and Mare, Ephraim. So the undisturbed would be the Mare, and then the crater would be younger, I would think.
Yeah, Copernicus, because before the impact that formed Copernicus, before that occurred, the Mare was smooth and pristine looking. Excuse me, but then when Copernicus, when the impact hit that formed Copernicus, that disturbed the Mare. So in that sense, you can see the crater pristine, so that must be the younger feature, and the Mare is not smooth anymore because now it's all, messed up because of the crater. So yeah, so the Mare would be first, and then the crater would be later.
Okay, that helps. Thank you so much.
Okay,
I think that's all I had.
Okay. Well, if you think of anything else, just shoot me an email.
Okay, well, I really appreciate it. I think I'm about finished with this one. I'll answer the best I can.
Okay. Yeah, well, sounds good. I'm trying to just make this look a little bit different, but okay.
All right, well, you have a good night. I appreciate your time.
Okay, you too. Thanks.